Welcome in. Back-to-back updates, 2 weeks apart, because I wanted to answer a couple questions you guys dropped in the comments, both questions and some feedback I was receiving. So this video is going to be a 1 week update after 3 inches of rain, updating you on the cornfield, the millet field, and also talking about the pros and cons and benefits of various types of dove fields, both millet and sunflowers. So let's get into it. Brought to you in part by Deep River Sporting Clays, safe, fun, family entertainment. And by these additional sponsors. Some of these edges where we didn't spray very well, definitely starting to see some grass growth, but thankfully that's mostly just along the perimeter and the outside edge here. But I am a little bit bummed out at just how much predation we're getting in here from the raccoons. It does seem to be just this outside edge closest to the wood line where the creek is, which makes sense. I think they're pushing up in here and starting to tear apart the corn here, looking for something to eat. Starting to get some bugs in here, which is to be expected. We are certainly not in the clear yet. Last time I mentioned I thought I had some drought stress, but I have been corrected that this is most likely the result of a potassium deficiency. If you agree with that, please drop a comment below and let me know. A lot of the corn in this field seemingly looks really happy, but you come right down to the bottom here, there's a very yellowing effect occurring at the bottom most leaves here. And we did a soil test here 2 years ago. We did find a potassium deficiency when we got our recommendations for sunflowers. So I can only imagine now we're seeing some of that same thing here in our corn stand. This particular stock's got 1, 2, 3. That one would have had 1, 2, 3. A couple other plants have 2 or 3, so we're making pretty good here. If we could just keep the dang raccoons out of it. I mean, we're going to have some really nice cobs in here if we can just keep the critters out of here, but I am excited. I think this is the result of inconsistency with the planters. I do believe these root systems should be lower to the ground. I think this corn was planted too shallow. Again, I'm not a corn expert. I'm just sharing with you my understanding. Always, if I am wrong or if you disagree, please drop a comment. I'm pretty sure that's a result of too shallow planted corn. Those nodal roots should be deep down in there, and I think these should be a little bit closer to the ground. But that seems to be about hit or miss. Some are like that. Other ones seem to be a little bit more flush. Those are just the planter inconsistency. That old 2-row coal planter is not a precision instrument by no means. It is pretty amazing what 1 week and about 3 inches of rain has done here. We had 1.5 inches right before I left for the beach. We were gone for a week. Got another 2 rain events totaling about another 1.5 inches. So 3 inches of rain in 1 week after being dry for so long. And this corn has really taken to life. Even some of the drought stress areas are waking up pretty nicely. I'm just curious what kind of coverage we've got. Oh yeah, all our millet's coming up. It's sat here dry for a week with 0 rain, but now that we got some rain, it as well has woken up here. Gonna be a little patch of Japanese millet here. Sometimes I get caught looking at the nuance of this stuff, but when you step back and look at the big picture, we do have a lot of corn out here that seems to be making out pretty well. Again, this is the very end of June, actually June 28th. We're on our way towards July 4th weekend, so we still got, what, 2 months before the opener, so we got plenty of time here hopefully to mature this corn out and get it dried out. This is always interesting to me where I came back there with the tractor and just tracked the millet in just to press some seed soil contact. Look where the millet's growing, right in the tractor track. Not only does it show you that seed soil contact and a little bit of compaction makes a difference, that's also where the moisture is sitting. So at a minimum, tracking your seed in is a great thing. If you have a cultipacker, certainly even better. Pressing that seed against the soil is making a big difference right there, and the moisture can sit in there when it rains. So enough about the corn here. It's looking pretty good. No major updates other than we're tasseling out back there, and we have a lot of cobs. This is what I'm really excited about. This stuff is just, it's my absolute favorite. Somebody dropped a comment and said, nothing beats a millet field when it comes to cost, how easy it is, and how predictable it is. And you, sir, are correct. Check this out. Boom. Look at this millet field. This area right here, of course, is our Dove Proso. We're doing a side-by-side test. Dove Proso for about 1/3, and then the brown top millet up there, the upper 2/3. And you can definitely tell different areas are getting different amounts of fertilizer, nutrition, and moisture. You'll have a real lush green patch, followed by a little bit shorter, yellower patch here, maybe a little bit nitrogen deficient or moisture deficient, and that kind of varies across the field. So it is interesting to see how different areas of the same field are reacting, but by and far, we've got a lot of millet out here. And some of this millet is just starting to want to try and go to seed, I think. But reminder, this millet was planted a little over a month ago. I think we're sitting right at 40 days now. So it would not surprise me in the least bit if some of this millet started to put on a head later this week by July 4th weekend. Some of these millets I've seen start to put a head on in as short as 45 days. And I think we are fast tracking in that direction. But for right now, comparing the two, I'd say the only difference is the Dove Proso is just a little bit taller than the brown top. I think that's just how Dove Proso is. It just grows a little bit more vertical. Otherwise, very, very similar in nature. The leaf structure looked very, very similar. When the seed begins to develop is also going to be similar. For us, because we burn the whole field off, it doesn't make that big of a difference for us whether it drops slowly or develops quickly, because we're going to end up burning the whole field off before the opener anyway. Let it go to full maturity, then we'll come back through here, set a fire to it, burn it to clean up the ground, sit under this power line, complemented with 2 acres of corn. I think we'll have us a dove field. Reason for just doing a back-to-back update is I wanted to answer a couple questions people had about the yellowing of the corn. I do think that's a potassium deficiency. Per an agronomist I talked to, people were asking about what is the simplest, easiest, cheapest dove field that I can do, and that is going to be a millet field. Hands down, every time. Brown top millet field, it does not get any easier. As you can see, we broadcasted it into the standing fall food plot, bush hogged right over it, lay a thatch layer down, and well, we have us a 1 acre beautiful stand of millet. So if you're looking for something cheap and easy with minimal equipment, plant your millet field. I know I'm slightly redundant, but this year we took a year off of sunflowers. Sunflowers have always been our claim to fame out here in this field, but we had a terrible weevil problem. We were told to rotate out of sunflowers for a little while to help with the weevil problem. So that's why we went ahead and planted corn this year. And I think we're doing pretty good here. We got a lot of tasseling on the upper end, starting to get some corn stalks down here on the lower end. But I'm hoping 2 acres of corn sitting next to a little over an acre of millet should do the trick. Somebody also said in the comments that, he said, don't beat me up for this. He said, but I'll be honest with you, sunflowers are not worth the hype. He said they're expensive, they're hard to grow, and they can be finicky. And again, you, sir, are correct. They can be hard to grow in high deer density areas, which we have. That's why you see all the fence posts around our field. When we plant sunflowers, we have to fence it off, otherwise the deer wipe us out. So yes, sunflowers can be hard to grow. If you're planting clearfield varieties, you're talking $350 for a 50-pound bag. It can be very expensive. A lot of nitrogen, just like corn. Sunflowers are very, very nitrogen hungry, just like all this corn out here. And then you get into grass and weed control. Some of the herbicides used in sunflowers are much more expensive than the herbicides we use for this Roundup Ready corn. Buying a Mazamox, the Beyond herbicide for the clearfield varieties, it's expensive. There's a few hacks for that to save you some money, but you, sir, are correct. Sunflowers are very expensive and finicky to grow compared to some other crops. So millet field if you're on a budget. Corn is always great if you're set up for it. Pretty easy to grow corn in general, especially Roundup Ready corn. But at the end of the day, though, sunflowers are the prettiest, and that's why we love them. Great bird draw. Doves absolutely love them, but a full bloom couple acres of sunflowers, kind of hard to beat. I was showing you some of the other perimeter areas where a lot of grass is coming in. This seems to be most of what this field looks like. There'll be little strips here and there where the herbicide missed. There'll be little pockets of what appears to be millet. I think this is actually volunteer brown top millet coming back in. So I'm not going to complain about that. But we've got a lot of bare ground beneath all this corn. But the biggest thing to update on as far as the corn goes right here on June 28th is, of course, we're starting to tassel out across most of this field, beginning the pollination phase. If you don't know, this actually drops down, pollinates its own ears, pollinates its neighbors. That's how corn works. So we're starting to tassel out, which tells you we're quickly headed to cob production here. End of June, June 28th. Quick follow-up to the Carolina nettle treatment we did using triclopyr and 2,4-D, and well, the results speak for itself. Absolutely smoked it. So that is certainly the concoction to control this stuff. Roundup didn't touch it, bust right through the pre-emergence. So if you're trying to get control of nettle, I did have luck last year using just 2,4-D when I sprayed over the millet field trying to control it. But spiking it with triclopyr certainly knocked it in the dirt. I have found an area where it is, in fact, millet, I have confirmed, is really thick. But I'm not sure that I'm too concerned about it. I think we've ended up with what you call dirty corn over here, because check this out. This is volunteer brown top millet from last year, starting to seed out here. And all of this, you can always tell it by this leaf structure. Brown top millet has a very defined leaf shape here. Starting to go to seed here. If all of this is in fact brown top, which I think it is, we're actually going to have some dirty corn in here where brown top millet is sitting below the canopy of this Roundup Ready field corn in here. That actually might turn out to be pretty sweet, kind of a bonus crop. But interestingly enough, the brown top millet has punched right through the Prowl and Dual Magnum pre-emergence. So the two of those did not control volunteer brown top, which is very interesting. And it's everywhere. I mean, this field is slam full of volunteer brown top that's actually making a pretty good head. This got top sowed with fertilizer after planting, so I'm sure that brown top appreciated that. Plenty of nutrients in here to feed that volunteer brown top. And there's a bunch of it through here. I mean, there's enough of it where once it dries, we may come through here and just set fire to it to burn it off to clean up underneath this corn, because there is certainly a lush carpet of it. It is very interesting, though, that it busted through my pre-emergence. When you get over here, I can show you a little bit more of the yellowing that was going on. A lot of yellowing, and now we've had plenty of rain where I don't think this is drought. Drought seems to reflect a little bit different in the leaves here. A lot of yellowing, particularly at the lower side of these plants. I'm thinking it is a potassium deficiency, but again, drop a comment and tell me if you think otherwise. June 28th, Dove Field update for you guys, answering some of the questions you had, responding to some of the comments you dropped, all great stuff. But for you all that have reached out to me professionally through Lentic Services, you guys rock. We're having a lot of fun doing this professionally. Big giant duck swamp projects going on. We got food plots going in, a lot of beaver work going on, just a lot of really cool stuff. So thank you guys that have reached out. But until those next videos, really appreciate you guys watching. As always, God bless and take care.